Hi, everyone. It's Welcome to the Week with Dr. RP. This is week 4. Week 4, we're reading about the dissertation. Dun, dun, dun! That's what I imagine we all hear in our head when we think about the dissertation. It can be intimidating to imagine that in just a few years you'll be writing what some people think of as their giant research project, something that has to be original, it has to be meaningful, it must be large enough to make a difference, it must be expansive in scope, it has to answer important questions. We put a lot of pressure on the dissertation. And even now, you may be thinking to yourself, wow, I liked grad school a lot. I really enjoyed my master's program. Those classes were no big deal. I'm sure I can do this doctorate. That pesky dissertation. And I know many of you, when we talked in the interview process and in preparation even for applying to the program, the dissertation was the one thing that sort of hangs out there as like, oh, gosh, ugh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I first want to tell you that by the time we get to the dissertation, you will be as ready as you can be. I second want to tell you that no one is really ready to get to the dissertation, and that's what they say in the dissertation journey is that you will be ready as you get there. It's a grow as you go journey on the dissertation. So this week in our module, we're going to think about what a dissertation is in general. And in the Roberts and Hyatt book, you're going to learn about the elements of a dissertation and different types of dissertations. And you're going to have a chance to read what a real dissertation is like. I've assigned each of you a dissertation. Some of them are by friends that I know. Some of them are by colleagues. Some of them are just really excellent dissertations that I've had referred to me by others. Some of them are on topics that are related to your interests. Some of them are not. So don't be worried if the topic is not really closely related to what you're interested in. The dissertation will be worth reading and you'll get use out of it. This week you're going to read chapter 2 closely out of the book. You're going to skim your assigned dissertation, and then you're going to skim Roberts and Hyatt chapter 3. That's new. I've added it to the syllabus. It's very short. It's just about ethical considerations of research. And then you're going to be listening to a podcast from Dr. Marvette Lacey, Balancing Dissertation and Full-Time Job with Dr. Ashley Adams, where Dr. Marvette Lacey is going to talk with Dr. Ashley Adams about how to balance writing your dissertation and working full-time, which is the situation many of you will be in now and in a couple of years. And I think you'll really enjoy that podcast. We will have a synchronized meetup on Tuesday the 30th at 7:30. Your research statement will be due and you'll be participating in the discussion board for the week. And in the discussion board, we're going to talk a lot about what it was like to read the dissertation. What were your thoughts and feelings about reading it? What did you notice? How did you read it differently? So be sure to look at that discussion board as you're getting ready to read the dissertation and think about, or maybe after you read the dissertation, just think about what that experience was like. One thing I wanted to talk about briefly as we wrap up Welcome to the Week, in the dissertation journey, they talk about some different forms of dissertations. They talk about case study. I'm trying to think what else they talked about qualitative and quantitative dissertations, and they gave you formats for those. They talk about model-based studies, and they talk about case study formats as well. But dissertations come in a lot of different formats. So for example, I have a friend who wrote her dissertation as 3 articles. There was a chapter 1, and then chapter 2, 3, and 4 were each separate articles that could then be put out to publication. And then there was a chapter 5 bringing it all back together. The Association for the Study of Higher Education, their dissertation of the year for 2019 was written by Dr. Stevie Johnson from the University of Oklahoma. And it actually was a hip hop album accompanied by a written dissertation. The title was Curriculum of the Mind, a Black Crit Narrative Inquiry hip hop album on anti-Blackness and freedom for Black male collegians at historically white institutions. And it was awesome. He created a hip hop album complete with music videos as well as his paper dissertation. So that's just, I just want to expand your minds to think about the fact that you could do project-based dissertations, you can do article dissertations, you can do really creative endeavors to think about as we get towards your dissertation. Work with myself, work with Dr. Maher. If you change advisors to someone else within the ELPF, you work with them to think about what could that dissertation look like. It's okay if it's a little bit more creative as you think about how might it practically influence the field of education and really speak to what we need in terms of change and improvement and transformation in the field of education. You don't have to be bound to the traditional 5-chapter dissertation, but also the 5-chapter dissertation is fine. So don't feel like you have to go, like, don't feel like you have to develop an album or a work of art. The dissertation in itself is a creative endeavor, even if you stick with the 5-chapter format. But just know that there's a lot of different ways to write a dissertation. So as you're reviewing your assigned dissertation this week and as you're evaluating it later this semester, there will be a lot of conversations we can have about what those dissertations look like, and allow yourself to imagine a little bit this week as you read those dissertations and think about the dissertation journey, what you might be interested in turning your dissertation into someday. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the 30th. Have a great day and great week.